Hi, this is George from The Return of the King. It's a little over 50 days to the Feast of Trumpets, so it's time to start talking about the feast. This video is a preview of some of the things I will be covering in the weeks leading up to the Feast of Trumpets. The question for me has always been when Paul says we will be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. Was he talking about the Feast of Trumpets? At the time of Paul, the Feast of Trumpets was known as the Festival of the Last Trump. The odds are most likely better than 90% that he's talking about the Feast of Trumpets. But 90% is not 100%. So you have to be open to looking at other times and feast days. Pentecost, the Feast of Harvest in the Old Testament, was a mystery feast to the Jews, since it was not related to anything in their history. Pentecost is about the church. The church began on Pentecost. Pentecost, synonymous with the church age, is closed by the Rapture. If the last trump is the Feast of Trumpets, then Paul is telling us when the Rapture will occur, some year on the Feast of Trumpets. Between now and the Feast of Trumpets, I will be presenting evidence as to why I believe that sometime during this feast, the Rapture will occur. This is what the heavens look like at sunset on 9/27. The Feast of Trumpets begins at sunset. The constellations of the Rapture are rising, symbolic of our meeting Christ in the air. Jupiter is in the same place as it was on the 15th day of the third month on the Jewish calendar, June 15th, the true date of Pentecost, confirmed by the account of the 153 fish. The new moon, representing concealment, is about to disappear below the horizon. We are the light of the world, and the light is about to leave. Nighttime is coming. When we leave, the world will be left in utter darkness. Not a single true Christian will be left on earth. John 21:11. So Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore, full of large fish, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. No true Christian is left behind. On September 29th, 2020, I published this video. It contains a prophetic dream I was given of a race in Egypt. In the dream, I was shown a map. My location when I found the map relative to the finish appeared to indicate a period of time to when the race would be finished. A period of two something, days, months, or years. The video was published 2 years to the day prior to the Feast of Trumpets 2022. The Feast of Trumpets is a 2-day festival ending on September 29th. This is the view of the heavens on the true day of Pentecost, the 15th day of the third month on the Jewish calendar. On this day, we see a symbolic depiction of the account of the 153 fish in the heavens, confirming the true day of Pentecost. When I run the race in Egypt, the pyramids are located as you see here. Relative to the race, I'm running in the desert. The 3 pyramids of Egypt align with 2 wandering stars and 1 fixed. This confirms that the map from the dream is in the correct constellations in the heavens. I'll be talking about why this and other multiple alignments occurred on this particular day, including the Revelation 12 sign, in a future video. This is the view of the heavens from Jerusalem at sunset on 9/27/2022, the start of the Feast of Trumpets. When I overlay the race on the fishes on the Feast of Trumpets, this is what it looks like. The race in Egypt is prophetic about a meeting with God. Jupiter has gone into retrograde motion and is in almost the exact identical location as it was on June 15th, the true date of Pentecost. This is the day Paul tells us to be watching for the rapture. On the day Paul tells us the rapture will occur, the finish to the race is next to Jupiter, representing the Christian who is orpazoed, raptured from the dragon in the sea who wants to devour him. The race is 26.2 miles. 26 is the numerical value of Yahweh. The 2 represents the dead in Christ and we who are alive, who meet the Lord in the air. A meeting with God. In John 4:35, Jesus made this interesting statement, "Do you not say, there are yet 4 months, and then comes the harvest?" Exactly 4 months prior to the Feast of Trumpets, on May 28th, a sign of the coming rapture appears in the heavens. These are the constellations of the rapture, and these are the constellations of the coming tribulation. The moon, representing Messiah with his bride, will disappear as it moves into the constellation of Taurus, Christ the Judge. It takes 7 days for the moon to reach the constellation of Cancer, representing heaven. We will be gone for 7 years. At the exact same time as the moon fades from view as it enters Taurus, Mars, representing the red dragon, is about to devour Jupiter, representing the Christian from the Revelation 12 sign. It will be at its closest point to Jupiter the following day, when the moon has disappeared from view, symbolic of our escape from the dragon as described in Revelation chapter 12. The rapture is pre-tribulation. It occurs before God pours out his wrath, which begins when he releases the 4 horsemen. This view of the heavens is the Revelation 12 sign, which reaches its fulfillment just prior to sunset on the Feast of Trumpets 2017. Below is a view of the Feast of Trumpets this year, September 27th, 2022. From the Feast of Trumpets 2017 to the Feast of Trumpets 2022, it's 5 years. 5 is the number of grace in the Bible. The church age is also known as the Age of Grace. The Age of Grace is closed by the rapture. The new moon, representing concealment at sunset on the beginning of the Feast of Trumpets, is in the same location as Jupiter was in 2017 when the Revelation 12 sign reached its fulfillment. It's the Christian who will be concealed away for 7 years. Looking east the following morning from Jerusalem, the Lion of the tribe of Judah rises in the east, along with Venus, the bright morning star who represents Jesus, and Mercury representing the angels who testify to the churches, and Michael and his angels who fight against the dragon. It is Christ who starts a tribulation by opening the scroll and its 7 seals, releasing the 4 horsemen. I'll be talking about how all the feast days are being fulfilled in order, beginning with Jesus being born on the Feast of Tabernacles and returning on Yom Kippur. When Jesus began his ministry in 28 AD, the Jewish leadership should have recognized who he was and crowned him king on the Feast of Trumpets in 29 AD. 10 days later, on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, the Jubilee would have begun. Jubilees are about return and restoration. Christ's kingdom on earth would have been restored, but because the Jews rejected the true Messiah, Jesus, it will be exactly 2,000 years or 40 Jubilees before that restoration can occur. When the Jews were in the desert after the Exodus, they sent out 12 spies to survey the Promised Land. 10 of the 12 spies who returned gave a bad report and convinced the Jews that the land could not be taken, even though God had made a promise with them that he would give it to them. Because they did not trust God, it would be 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days they explored the land before they would enter the Promised Land. Because they, the Jewish leadership, did not recognize the Messiah when he came, it will be 40 Jubilees before they can enter the Promised Land of the millennium. It's on the last feast to be fulfilled, Yom Kippur, that Jesus returns to earth to set up his kingdom to reign on earth, the day the Jubilee begins. The roadmap in the heavens appears to be now complete. The Bible instructs us to be watching the signs for his return. As the day approaches, our understanding of the meaning of the signs improves as we continue to watch and adjust our interpretation of their meanings. Just because something didn't happen the way we thought it should doesn't mean the signs are invalid. Just because nothing happened during the blood moons or on the day of the Revelation 12 sign or on the 15th day of the 3rd month That doesn't mean they mean nothing. It means they are part of a larger mosaic, a large puzzle with many pieces. This video is just a preview of what I'll be covering in the weeks to come as the Lord wills. I will be going into greater detail on everything I've shown here and more. Prophecy is best understood after it happens. When it's all said and done, it's going to have been really quite simple. For those who have been left behind and become believers during the tribulation, it will be quite clear. Jesus was coming for his bride some year on the Feast of Trumpets. The signs of his coming for his bride appeared in the heavens and here on earth years before the event, the rapture, occurred. And it came to pass just as it was written. And many will be thinking to themselves, if I'd only believed back then, oh, how life would be different now. Thanks for watching.